What's up, Cancer? Uh, we're gonna do a card pull, or we're doing a card pull description first, and then we're going to actually talk more in terms of the actual reading itself. But the idea here is that this is a card from the Herbal Astrology Oracle deck by Adriana Ayales, and the card is Sage, with the subtext of blessing. And the description reads: blessing, purification, invocation, sacred gift, spiritual cleansing, resembling, reassembling, emotional body, and mystic insight. The genus named Salvia comes from Latin salvare, meaning to save, an apt name for this powerful protective herb. Various species of sage can be found through the world, and this card embodies the spirit of this precious and ancient plant. First Nations people and Native Americans have used sage ceremonially for thousands of years for inner and outer purification. Sage is regarded as a panacea and employed as a medicine to heal against many ills. It's also used as an offering in sweat lodges, wrapped around sacred objects, and placed in medicine pouches. And sage is one of the primary herbs for smudging. Smudging is sacred. Smudging is a sacred ritual practiced among Native Americans. It is similar to the smoke limpias practice in Central South America. The American traditions where, I'm going to read that one more time. It is similar to the smoke limpias practiced in Central South American traditions, where smoke is brushed along the body with the hands, feathers, or ritual objects to bless and purify and invoke ancestral spirits. In ancient Egypt, sage was used as a remedy for diseases and epidemics like the plague. In pharaonic tombs, it was used as one of the main ingredients in embalming, as it was considered an essential herb for entrance to the afterlife. The ancient Romans regarded it as a holy plant, and prior to picking it, they would enact a ceremony and ask its permission. A special knife was used to collect its leaves and stems. Like herbs ruled by the moon, sage is a vibrational, powerful plant that deeply influences the electromagnetic field. The moon houses our intuitions and emotions, and lunar herbs greatly affect the tides of our subconscious mind, our emotions, and psyche. Herbs of the moon also rule the gut, and sage is one of those allies that not only sharpens our gut feeling and intuitive gateways, it also heals the gastrointestinal tract. The guidance portion of this is sage, like the moon card in the tarot, is a great portal to the river of life. The silver light of sage grants us the power of insight while we navigate the darkest hours. The lunar powers of sage remind us to look inward to receive visionary insight from spirit. Don't get overly consumed by the emotional interplay. Allow it to pass like the clouds. Draw upon the inner reserves of your psyche to navigate darkness and become keenly aware of what is causing inner disturbances, fear, and unhappiness. The initiation you are undergoing, although unfamiliar, is a great blessing. Feel yourself seize and resemble as you break illusions to unearth hidden truths. Surrender and don't stand in your own way. Allow the silvery white light of sage to shatter illusions as you undergo a great awakening. First off, I just got taken out of commission, so I had to literally start reading this after like 10 minutes of looking around, or basically trying to fix what happened. I had some sound issues, or some mic issues. Um, there's significance there. There's definitely significance there. I just don't like it. It probably, and it definitely has something to do, because I held pretty tightly onto these ideas. Uh, First off, sage is this particular plant, according to this deck, is ruled by the moon and Jupiter, right? And Cancer is also ruled by the moon, for those who don't know, which is already pretty cool. But this idea of energy clearing in terms of sage, right? The blessing, the understanding. A lot of us need to understand that there is a concept of clearance that is going to benefit the 3D in ways in which our current society does not understand or really accept, in terms of the actual, the more real, I'll say, data driven insights haven't quite got to a level to where they can measure this, right? Because I think society has gotten to a point where we're definitely willing and able to acknowledge the transformation that takes place with things like, psychology and things of that nature. But when it comes down to being able to clear energy, it becomes very, very important, right? Because this energy body of, let's say, Cancer's unique energy signature, that is something that's very much the emotions, the understanding, the resonance that you guys have with the emotional body is tremendous, right? And the idea of clearing that energy, having that emotional understanding, and being able to simply let it clear, let it go. And we talked about this. I believe it was the last reading, I believe, that we talked about this with Cancer. But the idea is that you get real insight. You get real tangible benefits from this clearing that can take place. And some of you may need to actually clear, if you're not aware, Cancer does rule over emotions, right? And that's, in terms, the idea of emotions is energy in motion. And the concept here of clearing that energy and having that energy cleared, a lot of us don't understand something, and I think I'll share this with you right now, in terms of the idea of the insight, in terms of how this idea of language, the idea of thoughts, are expressed. And in terms of the way I see things, I see the expression of ideas, words, whatever. It originates as a feeling first, right? And I would say the best languages are the ones that simply allow you to translate that feeling to another person, right? And that is very much in terms of understanding the impact of not having a clean energy body, not having a clear energy body. You should understand that the actual vessel itself may not be able to completely release what it's supposed to do. It may not be able to simply put out the intended effect, right? And when it comes down to you guys need to understand this. One, if you really haven't looked into energy healing, definitely look into that. And for yourself as well as other people as well, in terms of start to have an understanding of what it can do. There is a very real body that extends past our own body, right? We have our our own energy body, and that is going to be very important that you're aware of that, especially today, especially right now, because when it comes down to, some of you may benefit from the Taurus reading as well, and in terms of reading or that particular thing that's for this particular week. This, in terms of the energy signature here, you should understand something. Extending out past what we have here is something that is impacted by others and can impact others. And many of you may need to actually take the time and learn these things that are related to the energy body to simply be able to help yourself become a better and essentially a better vessel, but also help others become a better vessel as well. And this idea of sage being able to cleanse, you should definitely not stray away from that idea, right? Especially if your emotional body, for any reasons, say for instance, falls into dis-ease, right? We need that. We need that understanding of energy clearance, right? Because we talked about this, and this is the second time actually we talked about this idea of what emotions can do in terms of the capacity there, but also when it is not understanding of, when it comes into contact with the more malefic forces. The idea here is that there may be a downfall first before, in terms of a susceptibility that you guys have that is very much connected with your potential, right? The idea of depression, the idea of healing depression. If you are fighting for some reason depression or dis-ease in terms of your energy body, it may be placed to show you how to better heal the next person, right? And possibly the next generation, right? Because we're echoing out from here, from this point, and it does look like this idea of a renaissance in terms of today is something that will dwarf previous renaissance. Two that I'm thinking about in particular are the idea of the Harlem Renaissance and the idea of the Italian Renaissance. What happens today, how you handle this now, don't be frustrated with the time it may take to either, really grapple with your particular woes, your particular understanding, because the benefits, they can echo well beyond here and now. And I highly recommend that you hold that understanding and really come to terms with it. And if anything, like I said, what I told you guys to look at, Taurus reading. You guys can also look at Taurus reading as well. And if anything, have a good week.